the early hours of today about the passing of Dada KD, an amazing gentleman indeed, and one who added to the stories of our high life music and its movement, in the country. We sure are going to miss him. So we'll get into the details on the conversations very shortly. Thank you all so much for joining us for this conversation here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Attoh, and I'm backed by the rest of the Joy Sports team.
Only began the process. We will need to institute a committee of a sort to go into what happened. I have assured all that nothing will be covered. We will ask all the questions that must be asked. We will speak to, and we hope that both the Nigerian side and the Ghanaian side will cooperate with the team that will be put in place to investigate this matter. The death, as unfortunate as it is, was not caused by any Ghanaian. It wasn't an attack. So I don't expect Nigeria to say they would want to attack any Ghanaian. That I don't expect. The only issue at stake here is whether he was sanctioned by his authority to fight or not. And clearly, if you listen to all the narrations, including the message from his original coach, the boxer defied anybody stopping him from coming for the fight. And the coach said because he's an adult, he cannot be stopped. So he went ahead.
The truth of the matter is that the NBBFC gave approval, that's release letter, to Segun Olaraju Success to fight in Ghana on the 28th. The 28th of March, I believe, is a Friday. That means weighing and medicals must have been done on Thursday. Now, at the weighing, I was made to understand an issue cropped up where Segun was being told that he's brought from Nigeria to come and lose to the Ghanaian boxer. And Segun said, no, we never had this agreement before I left Nigeria. But if you do want me to lose, then that means you must add to my purse. And extra must be paid. Back and forth until Friday. That's the night of the fight. We are still discussing this addition or not. Segun said the amount of money, maybe $500 that they were offering is too small. They wanted more. We were saying they will not be paying more than that. Eventually, Segun said it wasn't a fight, and he was taken from the venue of the fight Friday evening to the hotel so that he can leave for Nigeria on Saturday morning. The boxer and his coach, that's the one that came with him, we are already on their way back to Nigeria. I made to understand we were even about getting to our flower. That's what I was told before a call came. Maybe Segun made the call, or the promoter or matchmaker made the call, and they said yes, and are ready to at least increase or pay him what he was asking for as extra, and that there's a fight in Ghana Saturday night, and that fight, the bill will be put on that fight. So Segun now came back. That's where GBA aired. They shouldn't have allowed him to fight on Saturday because the reason was not for Friday. So it's a very, very bad case. And the rules of this game is that do weigh in on Thursday and you fight the following day. Not weigh in on Thursday and fight 2 days after. So that's where GBA head, and it's a big mess that we have on our hands. The family of the boxer, they are in disarray. We are not happy because Segun was one of our good boxers and is somebody that is a breadwinner of his family. Myself, the president, and our welfare officer will be going to meet with the family this morning, and we'll take issues from there.
Well, this just a little reminder of one of the key happenings within our space over the last couple of months. We all do remember the unfortunate passing of the Nigerian boxer success Olanrewaju Oluwaseun at the at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital after he had taken part in a boxing competition or in a boxing bout at the Bukum Arena. Well, we've been monitoring the situation, and yesterday the committee led by His Excellency Amaka Ematefiu provided or presented their report after the committee was tasked to look specifically into this particular incident. Well, details of the report are not yet known, but of course during the week we sure are going to be having more conversations about this to see how this matter ends. Still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Exciting days in women's football coming up, and of course would also want to start quickly looking at what's happening in Formula One this weekend. It sure is going to be an exciting one because the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix is coming up tomorrow. And what are the odds? Who is likely to perform and who is likely to slump in that very much anticipated race? Oscar Piastri is still leading towards championship, and the question is, can any other driver overcome his strength and overcome him in terms of performance on the tracks? Well, all of these questions we're going to be posing to Kwabena Poku as he would join us, as he joins us for the conversations on Formula One before we get into conversations on women's football and, the under-20 men's football team. All of those here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Remember that it's 055 997 for our WhatsApp platform. 055 997. Amazing times to be here. Amazing times to be in your company. Thank you so much for staying with us here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Over the next few minutes, we're discussing Emilia-Romagna. Yes, the Italian Grand Prix right here on the show. It's Formula One action. Question is, who wins this one? Kwabena Poku is here with me in the studio. Kwabena Poku is the coordinator of F1 Ghana and also leads the Motorsport Federation of Ghana. Kwabena, good to see you.
Good to see you.
Yeah, and Kwabena is in the beautiful company of Evelyn Isiasari. She is the Vice President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana and also the CEO of Hazakes Ladies Football Club. Evelyn, good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Yeah, it's been such
a
while. Does it mean that I don't go to the right places or, Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Thank you. Yeah, and so Evelyn is going to be touching also on the recently launched 50th anniversary of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. It's the oldest, they've got the oldest, awards scheme in the country. The oldest award scheme in the country, in addition to many others. And so we're looking forward to what will be an amazing 50th anniversary celebration. That's for later, but right now let's focus on the tracks. Kwabena, if we're asked to describe the Italian tracks, what would be the best to give it? I mean, now your geometry and your geography has to come to play.
No, the Italian track Imola is actually one of the oldest historic tracks in terms of Formula One. you know, and it's also one of the oldest home for the team Ferrari, you know, and what makes it very unique is that it's a typical racing track in terms of temperature, in terms of speed, one of the most speed-based tracks on the calendar. You know, very very historic. And mind you, this is I think the 31st or so anniversary of the passing of Ayrton Senna on the same track. You know, so Imola is very very sentimental to Formula One lovers. You know, they know what happens in Imola. It can disgrace you and it can make you famous.
Yeah, you know, talk about disgracing you or making you famous. In terms of complication, we wouldn't say this track is so difficult to navigate, but for some very sharp, like
Sharp
very
curves.
very sharp curves.
Yes.
I mean, I could count maybe like 1, 2, or about 3 major ones.
And mind you, it has only one DRS zone, you know, and the track limits, it can actually make you beat track limits, which can actually get you disqualified in a race if you go above a certain number, you know. So Imola is a very unique track. I mean, and if you watch the free practice up to free practice 3, which just ended a couple of minutes ago, it tells you how difficult the track is and how these drivers are. I mean, the best 20 drivers in the world, and they are able to navigate it at that stretch. All of them are having issues in certain curves and certain turns and all. But I mean, it's about between 4.2 4.6 kilometers, and these guys are making up to 1 minute 15 seconds per lap. You know, so it tells you that the qualifiers coming up in about an hour's time is going to be amazing to watch.
Well, we're looking forward to the qualifiers. We'll be getting into what the plan is for the weekend as well for viewing, and we'll also be looking at the possibilities and what is likely to happen. It's always good to get into those kinds of projections here on the Joy Sports Link as we look at the Formula One show here. Now, remember that later this afternoon we're going to be having a conversation with Evelyn Isiasare, who is the Vice President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana and also the President of Azaka's Ladies. Rosalind Amo is the Chairperson of the Women's FA Cup Committee. She'll be joining us virtually. And also Michael Asamoah of Win to Me Sports and Lawrence Beidou of Joy Sports. Now, they did a lot of coverage of the under 20, under 20 AFCON, and they've got a lot to talk about and a lot to share, especially with Ghana's team and the performance that was posted there and how we can project into the future with this kind of team. All of these conversations are here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Remember, you can send your messages to 055 11 11 997. 055 11 11 997. So we'll be getting into those conversations in a little bit. But let's throw a bit more focus on what we should be expecting for this very important race. Also, would like to say a very big good afternoon and good day wherever you are watching us from all over the world via our YouTube stream, also on Joy 997 FM and on Joy Sports, and live here on Joy 99.7 FM, and also live on Castle 90.3 FM in Cape Coast. So greetings to all of our friends who are joining us via coverage on Castle 90.3 FM in Cape Coast. Okay, let's now get down to the dynamics. What key things are you looking out for this weekend?
Well, key things that I'm looking out for, Red Bull has done some massive update on their car. They've literally probably copied a little bit of the McLarens, who are like flying from the first 5 races, like they are like off to a good start. So, and they've actually done it on Max's car. Red Bull, mind you, this season is currently concentrating on just Max. Their second driver, yeah, they give him a few updates, but they're not really paying much attention on him. This is the very first time Lewis Hamilton is racing as a Ferrari driver at home in Italy. So it's very, very unique for him as well. Ferrari is also coming with a bit of updates. They are finding it a little bit tough, but mind you, the concentration is still going to be on the Reds because it's his first time as a Ferrari driver driving in Italy for Ferrari. The McLarens are off to a good start after the first 5 races. They are like flying high. Piastri has always been my tip to win the season for the World Championship driver. I still think he's the best driver McLaren has, even though Lando Norris, you can't count to rule him out. He's a very, very, very good driver, but my bet is always on Piastri. Young driver, very, very calm, and he takes risk and keeps the car on the ground, you know. I'm still not writing Max out, but I'm really not going to bet on Max to win the championship this year. My bet is on either of the McLaren drivers, but then I put my bet on my Piastri. He's won 3 out of the 5 races. So if he takes the Italian Grand Prix and takes Monaco,
Actually, four.
That's it. He's actually won 4.
Four,
There
yeah,
you go.
four, yeah.
He's actually won 4. You see,
Yeah.
so if he takes the Italian Grand Prix and Monaco next week, that's it. McLaren should concentrate on him to win the championship, and
Wow.
then they should go ahead and win the Constructors' Championship with
Wow,
2.
this is going to be amazing. So,
Yeah.
just so we can bring everybody up to speed, just in case you haven't monitored. So, 5 podiums and 4 wins so far for Oscar Piastri of McLaren, and then following in second place is Lando Norris. In second place,
Yeah.
he's got 115 points. Now, Oscar Piastri has 131 points, and then Max Verstappen, good old Max Verstappen, with 99 points there, and then George Russell there with 93 points, and then Charles Leclerc in 5th place with 53 points. So that is what it's looking like. Oscar Piastri there at the top, Lando Norris following, Max Verstappen, George Russell, and Charles Leclerc for the top 5 in the F1 championship. But as Kwabna has already told us, in the unlikely instance that anything else happens, it looks like Piastri is going to.
Look, he's so calm, collected, and all that. And if you talk about his teammate and the experience his teammate has, he always brushes it off. It's like, okay, my teammate is good. Yeah, he's a very good driver. Nobody's ruling Lando Norris out. But Piastri has a funny way of driving that car and keeping that car on the ground, even when he has issues, And it came from the last race they had in Miami. You could clearly see what he did with that car. It was just amazing. Look, the 2 McLaren cars combined, 1 and 2, they won by more than 31 seconds. In Formula 1, 31 seconds is like what? It's like, yeah, that's it. They could have actually gone in and pit. And when you go into pit, aside the pit stop taking maybe 1 point something seconds, you waste almost, in Miami, 23 seconds. And they were stretching by 31 seconds. They could have actually gone in.
Such a big deal.
Exactly. They could have
That's
actually
such a
gone
big
in
deal.
pit and come out and still lead the race. So the McLarens are very fast. Look, they are massively fast.
Let's get into the projections now. How you expect it to wrap up on the on the podium. However, let's talk briefly about the Lewis Hamilton effect. How it's not necessarily present this season, and whether it really has any telling effect whatsoever on viewership around the world, following and anything. Interest.
Okay, so I've always said that this is Lewis's first year in Ferrari. Mind you, throughout his whole career, he's driven Mercedes engine-based cars. Started with McLaren, ran on Mercedes engine, came to Mercedes for the rest of it is 11 years. So this is first time in a Ferrari engine, a totally different engine from what he's used to on Formula 1 tracks. Number 2, Ferrari are having engineering issues with their cars, and Lewis is one of the best drivers to the extent that he keeps pointing it out to them. The last race where he actually got on the podium, he actually told them he recommended the tire change for himself and asked them that they should bring him in for him to change his tire. In Miami, they could have projected a good results if they had even listened to him, to the extent that they delayed 3 laps for him to just switch with Leclerc, knowing very well that he was faster than Leclerc, and that cost them the race. So they have some fundamental issues, but this is the Lewis effect. Lewis Hamilton on his own is a very big brand for the Formula 1 industry. Mind you, just yesterday, FIA has appointed his father as the team lead for the Young Drivers Association, the Young Drivers Development Program for the FIA. That's Lewis Hamilton's father. You understand? So FIA F1 can't do away with the name Hamilton in the industry. He signed a 3-year deal with Ferrari. I'm not expecting him to perform this year. I've already said that he's not going to perform this year because he doesn't have the car. And even with a bad car, he shows what he can do with that bad car. FP2, he had brake issues. He called them in. He brought the car in. He realized that yes, he was right. He actually had braking issues with the car. They fixed it, came back, and then he started, running again. But my point is that Lewis is so big that when he gets on the track, you can count the Red Army who are now Mercedes fans who have now even migrated, including myself. I'm not a team fan, I'm a driver fan. So you see me wearing 44 Lewis Hamilton, right? If he's in Mercedes, I'll still wear my 44 Mercedes. That's the effect Lewis has on the sport, right?
Amazing.
Watch what's going to happen in Italy this Sunday. Majority of the track will be Mercedes-Benz fans who have migrated to Ferrari just because of Lewis Hamilton. Mind you, he's leading the charge to bring the sport back to Africa. Morocco, Rwanda, South Africa are fighting to get the sport, to get the lead. South Africa has actually put in 2 tracks. The Kalami track, which is an old track, and they're also developing a new track in Cape Town. Which
you visited the South African track,
Kalami
right?
at the invitation of the what's the guy's name? Gating, the Minister of Sports. They are ramping up African associations to push their agenda, right? For me, if you put together Morocco, Rwanda, and South Africa, if I'm the FIA or I'm Formula One, I'll go with South Africa. The infrastructure is there. Accommodation is there. They have rooms to host. F1 is hosting about 350,000 people per week for the 2 weeks of the sport. Here, 10,000, even 5,000 guests for Afri-Exim Bank. We were fighting to find them accommodation in Accra. But the South Africans can actually host up to 350,000 people.
You know, Kwabena, you've brought up a very interesting conversation. And like I mentioned, this conversation about sports tourism is one we need to have
There you go.
very, very, very urgently, because as time goes on, we're growing, demands are growing, and we need to have this conversation.
I had somebody ask me a question yesterday at Pitch Stop. The person was saying that, so why can't Ghana host Formula One? And I told him straight up, first of all,
we don't have the logistics.
We don't have logistics. Remember, there was a race in Turkey a couple of years ago, right? The weather was so bad, the race was held up. This was the reason why the race was held up. They had medical facilities at the track, but the race was held up because should there be any emergency, the helicopter didn't have a line of sight to fly to the nearest hospital. So they waited for the clouds to clear and for the aviation people to tell them that, oh, we have line of sight, so should there be any accident, we can fly quickly to the hospital. The race was held up for almost an hour. The logistics that goes into Formula One is crazy. So when the guy asked me the question yesterday, I told him, listen, we can't host Formula One, but we can host, we as an association, we are working towards building the first FIA standard go-kart tracking facility in Accra. We can host go-karting track facilities here. We can host the rally facilities here. Those ones, we don't need a lot to do that. The African Championships are in Kenya, South Africa, Morocco, and the likes. You can bring it here. We are currently talking to the Ampem Franca, Honorable Ampem Franca, what's the name of the National Sports Authority?
Yes.
So we're putting together a document. Our agenda is to partner them to develop this track just around the Games Village in Botema, right? To be able to drive both recreational and then the academy facilities in terms of go-karting, to develop our drivers, our own drivers over here, inter-schools championships, corporate championships, between media houses, between banks, you name them. You Nats can come there with your family over the weekend, enjoy the go-karting facilities. We'll have restaurants there, we'll have a clinic in there, all of those things. So we are talking to them to develop a go-karting facility, which is FIA standard, which can host championships, right, in Ghana. For that one, we can do. But for F1, no, we are nowhere near there.
Well, we shall get there one way or the other. Once the will is there, we have minds like yours. Still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Football conversation coming up very shortly. My big greetings to the Minister for Roads and Highways, Honorable Kwame Govins-Agboja. Now, he is a big F1 fan. One of these days, we're going to let him breeze through the studio. And he's going to be gracing one of our viewing events as well. Talk about viewing events. Let's wrap up the conversation with the viewing party this weekend and how you expect all to go.
So this year, as I was saying, we have a lot of activities for this year. We even have an F1 movie coming in June, which we are spearheading the premiere with our members and everything. So tomorrow we are at the Pit Stop Laboni. Pit Stop was actually built purposely for sports which are not football related by Honeysuckle. And so tomorrow we are going to Pit Stop Laboni, the former Smoke and Barrel, same location, for the Italian Grand Prix. We'll be there from 11 a.m. in the morning. Lights out is at 1 p.m. sharp. So we're inviting all motorsports fans to come through. When you get there and you want to join our association, I'll be there. A few of my guys will also be there to take your details and add you to our association. And we move forward. Also, we have the movie premiere coming in June, on the 27th of June, the F1 movie with starring Brad Pitt and also produced by Lewis Hamilton. It's premiering on the 27th, and the after party is going to be at the Pit Stop. So, yeah, we have a lot of activities coming up.
Amazing stuff indeed. There's no doubt about that. Amazing stuff indeed. All of this right here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM, the best place to have all these conversations about Formula One. Top three before we go.
My top three, 1 and 2, McLaren, and there should be a Mercedes or a Red Bull mixed in there. So
yeah, but McLaren Piastri
and
or
Lando,
okay, same
even
combination.
If Piastri goes P2 qualifying today, he still will take Lando on. He's a very daring driver,
I see.
And it will be Piastri, Lando, and it could be either Max or what's his name, George. I tip Max, George, and Leclerc, one of them, to take P3.
Okay. All right, so the pit stop in Laboni is the place to be. We're all going to be there tomorrow at 11 a.m. So go to church early, close early. Go take a little 30-minute nap. Join us at Laboni.
Yeah, the lights off at 1 p.m.
So we have a 2-hour pre-party to have all of our conversations and catch up with friends, and then after that we can look and watch this amazing race over 63 laps. All right. Ampem, Darkoa and Police Ladies are in hot pursuit for the Women's Premier League title. And then Jonina Ladies and Faith Ladies clash for the MTN, the ladies, the Women's FA Cup final. Amazing stuff, isn't it? Here with me in the studio, Evelyn Isiasari. She is President of Hazaka's Ladies and also Vice President of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. Rosalind Amo will be joining us very shortly. She chairs the Women's FA Cup Committee of the Ghana Football Association. And I'm sure you've seen an amazing preview to the big Women's FA Cup final. Well, it was put together by Lawrence Beidou, the Joy Sports specialist for women's football. He'll also be joining the conversation very shortly, so that we look at how all of these competitions are bringing women's football up and drawing massive interest across board. Remember, your messages are very welcome. 055 1111997, 055 1111997. The biggest claims to fame of the late Dada KD. What a life we live. What a life we live. Very, very sad day indeed for all of us. An amazing gentleman indeed. One who brought so much joy with his tunes and all. And we wish we had to say all of these things and play his music on his birthday. Unfortunately, we have to do it at this time. Well, more conversations will be coming up later this afternoon as we get into Showbiz A to Z, celebrating his life and all of that. But right now, we want to throw the focus on the ladies and what, the emergence of women's football, how things have been going and how gradually there's massive interest in the game because of the performances of these teams. We all do remember the maiden edition of the CAF Women's Champions League and the kinds of performances that Ghanaian teams posted there. Hazaka's Ladies, the maiden or the team that debuted Ghana's performances at the competition, where they were able to get and all of that. So we're situating all of that within the context of the weekend and the big things coming up in the Women's FA Cup and also the Women's Premier League title. Evelyn, good to see you.
Good to see you too. It's been a while.
Yeah, sure. Look, before we go ahead with all of that, the Sports Writers Association of Ghana is also celebrating its 50th anniversary. It's been many years of being a major force and a support body for sports journalism in this country, and this is a very key milestone that we all have to be proud of.
Yeah, we are proud, and to me especially, I'm proud to be part of 50th anniversary whilst being the first
female vice president.
That's it. So I'm very happy.
We're in a regime of first female vice presidents. You know,
it's good. Yeah, it's all good, and it's very good that we appreciate the work of our sportsmen and women. And we have been doing it for the past 50 years. So this year we are thinking of having a very special program that will celebrate most especially women. So we are thinking that the women will do well for us, because Black Queens will be having African Cup of Nations, and then under 20 will also go to the World Cup. So we are trying to see how they can perform. In fact, we want SWAG to have their focus on the women. So we are just organizing the program to appreciate whatever our sportsmen and women are doing. But this year I would have wished that our focus will go to the women most, so that it will be something that will live with us forever.
Amazing stuff. Let's go and speak to Lawrence Baidu of Joy Sports. Lawrence Baidu has been covering a lot of women's football, bringing us a lot of women's football content, and the stories of Jonina ladies and Faith ladies, these two teams that ideally from the start of the season we wouldn't have thought would have
given
done
them
this
chance.
Well. Yeah. And there they are. There they find themselves. Lawrence, a very emotional story you told us during the week. Did you ever get any indication from either of these two sides, I'm talking about Jonina ladies and Faith ladies, that they could make it all the way to the final of the prestigious Women's FA Cup?
Look, thank you very much, Nat, and good afternoon to our listeners as well. I'm very glad that Mrs. Cynthia Asare is also in the studio, and she's one person who probably will attest to the fact that Jonina have been one of the surprise packages this season. She didn't see them coming, actually, because Jonina ladies actually denied them a place in the finals of the FA Cup, as well as some.
You should add almighty Hazaka's ladies. You should add that.
They also tried to deny them a place in the final of the league. Women's Premier League as well. So for Jonina ladies, they've been in the league for just 2 years, but then the growth has been there. They've been very consistent. Look, I can't take I mentioned yesterday that they happen to be the surprise packages of the season. They will be my team of the season, because what they've been able to achieve is quite incredible. For Faith ladies, I don't think many saw this coming, because from the start of the season, they didn't have a good season. They've had to do away with some of their players traveling. I'm sorry if you are hearing a bit of noise in my background. I think the place is very cloudy, so yeah, it's the cause of it. But then Faith ladies, as I mentioned, they in the course of the season, they had to lose some of their players due to financial reasons, due to some of them leaving for places elsewhere, as well as their investors pulling out of such things. So it was quite difficult for them. It's been a very difficult season for them. But in the FA Cup, they've played with a bit of motivation. I say motivation because in the FA Cup, Madam Evelyn Insiasare is aware, because from the round of 16 up to the final that will be played, Best Power has been giving some of these players what we call the locker room bonus. So they have a bit of motivation out there, which keeps them going, because you know that as long as you're able to win a game, you get something instantly into your mobile money wallet. So that has been a motivation for them, and they've played on, beat some of the heavyweights, including Nod ladies, and then Hazaka's ladies in route to reaching the final of this tournament. So it's a big one for them. Jonina ladies as well. It's also a big one for them. The interesting thing about this FA Cup final is the fact that this will actually be a chance to win a silverware for both of the teams.
Amazing stuff there. If you just joined us, we're throwing heavy focus on women's football this afternoon, and we're taking a close look at the wrap-up of the Women's Premier League, the Women's Premier League season final, and also the Women's FA Cup final as well. We've also been joined by Rosalind Attoh. Rosalind Attoh is a seasoned writer of many years who has a lot in terms of institutional memory on women's football. She is the current chairperson of the Women's FA Cup Committee, and I'm very sure that she is also very excited, just like all of us, that this feat has been achieved, that we've been able to grow this product and it's drawing so much interest. Rosalind, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us on the show. This is also one that is going to help in terms of drawing some numbers to start watching these games for these clubs that ordinarily would not be very known entities, because in women's football is either Ampem Darkoa ladies or Hazaka's ladies.
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your panel list and then also your listeners. Certainly, I mean, Jonina, if you live within the Ansieku area, you know the kind of support they have gathered. I watched them qualify for the Premier League in 2023 at Chibi, and even at that time, we knew they would soon be a force to reckon with, and so it comes as no surprise at all that either that there it has to be Jonina. Faith Lady started off very well, but like Lawrence said, they have been bogged down by financial and other things. That has characterized the problems of many of the Premier League or the women's football clubs. And so even though they haven't started off well, I think that they did well with regards to the FA Cup. And so it will be refreshing. Sometimes people get bored coming to watch the same teams play in both the Women's League and then the FA Cup. And now that we have two teams, and that has always been the dream of the FA Cup, that it will give a chance to the lesser known teams with regards to women's football. And I'm happy that at least these two teams are going to bring a refreshing theme or aspect to the FA Cup final.
Let's remember that we're coming off the global celebration of mothers all over the world, and this is a continuation. This should be Mother's Month and not necessarily one day set aside to celebrate mothers. And so in that true spirit, we're celebrating the beauty of the women's game. And do remember that Ghana has a lot to think about in the future after these two major events. Just like Evelyn has told us, we're throwing focus on the Under-20 Women's World Cup and also the Women's AFCON to see if this could be the year when Ghana's Black Queens break that deadlock and win a first title for Ghana. It would have been amazing.
We are hoping so.
We're hoping so. Yeah.
I don't know why after 2004 we were not able to leverage on the viewership of Black Queens game. If you remember, we played Olympic Games qualifiers with Black Queens at the Ohinijan Sports Stadium, and along the line, announcements were being made that nobody should come again. The stadium was full to capacity, but we couldn't leverage on that. So I believe that having 4 different teams for FA Cup and then Premier League, different teams. I would say 3 different teams because Ampem Darkoa, they have always been there for the Premier League final match. So 3 new teams, 2 for FA Cup and then 1 which is Police Ladies for the Premier League. I think we have to beginning to leverage on whatever we are going to do tomorrow. It's a festival for women. It's a festival for our mothers who will come around to watch how the ladies will put the ball on the turf. You see, we are now beginning to grow so well in terms of our play, technically. At first, when you ever see women playing, where the ball is, all the 10 people within the field will go to that area. But now when football is being played for women, you see the defenders, the wingers, the midfield, they are all in their positional state. So football has grown. And I believe that from now till when we start the next league, there should be something within for us to develop the game so well for everybody. After this, I think we also have top 8, 4 from each zone, making it 8. We also have that top 8 that can also become another festival on its own for women football to thrive. I think we are using women football as a second fiddle because when the men are playing, we know that it's a male dominated something, so always everybody will just get up and go to the stadium. It's not like how the women is playing. So I think we have to begin to design a program so that it will also come to stay, and then any day, anytime we can just walk to the stadium. It shouldn't be a one-off something that when we are playing the FA Cup or when we are playing the league final, we are going through the schools to bring the students to come and watch them. No, I don't want it to be that way. I want it to be like the men's game, that anybody at all can walk to the stadium and buy a ticket to go and watch the women's game. Tomorrow is going to be a very nice game because these two teams, Jonina, we went to their home, we drew with them 0-0. They came to Takrade and we also drew again 1-1. We scored the first goal and they equalized. They have been a team that has worried us this season. But for Faith Ladies, I don't know what came over us that we couldn't beat them, because we played them for the semi-finals and they beat us 1-0. We tried as much as possible to equalize so that it can go to extra time. We couldn't. So I would say they have done well, but it's very unfortunate that after this match, we are not going to see them for the league. They are on relegation. So it's so sad that they are playing the FA Cup finals, but they are going on relegation. It's money.
Yeah. We'll talk about the money element, but just before we talk about the money element, I remember, Lawrence reminded us of it, and then Rosalind also made, reference to it, that we have, this issue of lack of investment or investors pulling out. Now, before that, I want Lawrence, can you explain to everyone so they understand the format we're using to play the league, especially the women's league? It's being played in a zonal format. Can you just explain how it has gone, how it's been put together, so that everybody can be up to speed regarding how the women's Premier League is being organized? Lawrence? All right, we'll come to Lawrence very shortly, but we're talking about this same, this same issue of investment and all of that, and everybody has a bit of a story. So we're going to go around the table. You have spoken about yours. We've had conversations here time and again. The performance in the CAF competition where you were expecting some.
Some
appreciation, some money, some primary to come.
Said they didn't have budget for that tournament and the rest. You see, we have to move beyond how we organize or how we put together a team. When you go to Nigeria, their senators.
And when you say we, you mean here in Ghana?
Yes.
Right? Okay. Good.
Their senators own the teams.
Okay.
So they have money to put in. And I tell you, if you don't put in money, huge money, I don't think you can get anything from whatever you are doing. Over here, we have only 3 teams that are being owned by the institutions. I'm talking of the police ladies, prisons ladies, and then army ladies. When you see them, nobody will tell you that they have sponsors. They are dressing, they have their bars where they play their games. If you have money and you are doing this, you will attract the good players. As I guess we are struggling because after our participation in the CAF Women Champions League, we were not given anything, and we took some money from some people to participate in that tournament. We came with nothing, and so you are owing that one stay. And then most of our players also left, so we needed money to replace, to get to players, replace those who have left. About 16-18 players left. We got money from only 2 people. Only 2 players. The 16 players, because they have been with the team for a very longer time, if they ask you that they want to go, you cannot say, I am not getting money, so stay. At least when they go there, they will be paid and they will also get something. And the prime aim of the owner of Hazakes is to, try to get some people to put in life in them. So if they are going somewhere to get something small, you cannot stop them from going. But we didn't get anything from their departure. And we have to replace between 16 and 18 players. We went to Division 1, so we are now nurturing them. We don't have a team. It will take a very long time before we can see a team that we took to Egypt. So it's money. It's money. So I sometimes I plead with the government that once the government is saying he's there for everyone, and therefore he's going to even establish women's banking, the president should also call us. We are very happy to see that we have a vice president who is a woman. We are waiting on her to call us. We need to have a stakeholder engagement. We need to sit on the round table, discuss how best we can put resources into this game. You see, even if you come to where we play our games, nobody would want to invest in that game because the fields are no good. It is recently that the previous government at least gave about 2 or 3 astroturfs, but they are not standard. We have astroturf, you don't have a dressing room, you don't have a changing room. How can you put together a pitch without a changing room? So I believe that this government should go around, check the astroturf that was built by the previous government, and then add the dressing rooms to it. And then every region, at least every region, they can get us a standard pitch for women's football. Now we have 16 regions, every region, so that when you put these people into a career state, I don't think the ladies will go and stand outside for wanting that a man should pick them in the evening for them to get money. Because if they are playing a game and every month they are being paid, where are they going? They are going to stay at one place for you to manage your country. Recently, I saw immigration officers going around to pick people who are around. Because they don't have anything doing, that is why they are outside there. But these are the things that individuals are doing. Individuals have put about 40 people together, feeding them, giving them shelter. It is not easy. So we want to plead on the government. Once we are starting a festival tomorrow, I believe that the sports minister will be there. It shouldn't be only sports minister. All the women, MPs, where are they? Sometimes you go to them, you write to them, and you don't receive any response. Please, we are building the nation together, and we have taken it upon ourselves.
Don't only write. Visit them in public.
You go there, and then they will ask you, do you have an appointment with them? You can stay outside for 3 hours. It is no good. Yeah. We just want to plead with them that give us room. Let us come and visit you. When we sit one-on-one, you understand us. We don't need so much. We need something small to be able to put the girls together. When we are able to put them together, we'll have a very clean country. We will not going to get people who are going to sleep with men to get money to eat, because football is a career. Some women want to enter into football, but even after football, what next? The district assemblies can also absorb us, because some of the players have completed technical universities, polytechnics. They have their degrees that they can work with the MMDCs. I understand the common fund. There is a bit
an element,
element that is for sports. I don't know whether they are using it or not, but we want to come to them so that we can all sit down and see what the small amount of the common fund that is a earmark for sports will do for us, so that we can all, you see, at first you have post ladies, you have gutter ladies, and they were working with the institutions, and every month they were being given their salary, so it wasn't a problem for them to play football at that time. But now we don't have any gutter, we don't have post ladies. It's army, police, and then prison. And the individuals, we have 20 teams, my dear, 20 teams, and only 3 of them are owned by the institutions. What about the rest? What about Hazakes ladies being absorbed by the municipal assembly within Takoradi? How much And if they are also working for you, so that the owner of the team can also breathe small. It is not easy. You have to rent an apartment for them. They will eat in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening. And you agree with me that because they are doing sporting activities, they are not going to eat the normal food. Their food are different from what we enjoy.
Special nutrition.
Special nutrition. And if we are not getting it to them, and that Rosalind said that it is because of money that Faith Ladies has to go on relegation, because you need quality players. And if you cannot pay them, they will not come. If you cannot pay them, and I don't think we can have about 10 teams paying salaries to their players. They can't, because there is no money. And FA is doing their best, but the whole season being given 60,000, I think we are not there yet. At least 150,000 will be very good, because let me take Hazakes as an example. We are based in Takoradi, and we are only team there. So every 2 weeks, we have to come to Accra. From Takoradi to Accra, you cannot move a player from Takoradi to Accra, and the same day you ask the player to come and play. So you come a day before the match, and therefore you have to stay in a hotel. You are going to pay a hotel, and then the next day after the match will close around 5 to 6, and you can't travel with the team in the night. So you also have to sleep. So you are talking about 2 nights. Transportation from Takoradi to here. So one match, you are spending about between 8 to 9,000 one match, and you are going to play about 18 matches, and you are being given 60,000
Per club.
per club. Yes, the FA is giving us 60,000 per club, and I think they are doing their best, but I feel it's not enough. It's not enough.
Amazing stuff. Amazing. No, and this is very important. This kind of conversation becomes very important, so that the bigger public gets to understand what is being done within the reality of the situation. Rosalind, you have seen many of these stories as well, and sitting there at the helm in organizing the Women's FA Cup, you see even more, because there are clubs that are not in the top tier that have to struggle and be a part of this mix. How big do you see the Women's FA Cup becoming, looking at this major milestone you're about to chalk tomorrow, and looking at the kinds of the prospects that we have, and also the quality of the players that you see in some of the clubs?
Well, I think that almost 10 years ago, when the then committee decided to impress upon the FA to bring on the FA Cup, we knew how it was going to be. After all around the world, we know that apart from the league, the FA Cup competition is also one of the biggest competitions for any football season. And so we just knew it. And I think that, Nat, if you remember, it was out of that conviction and belief that Sanford Women's Clinic came on as the first sponsors for the FA Cup, even when the league didn't have sponsorship. And so it was a seed that was sown, and we knew that with the right nurturing, watering, and tendering, it would grow and develop into something big. And so it comes as no surprise at all. In Africa, unfortunately, because there are limited competitions, it was also always difficult for people to buy into their idea. I mean, until 4 years ago, we had struggled and literally begged CAF to bring on the Women's Champions League. And so you realize that after winning the FA Cup, there is really nothing. And so many people were more focused and interested in the Premier League than the FA Cup. But gradually things are changing. And that is how come we see the stiff and keen competition we've seen in the FA Cup now. And the sky can only be the limit. Nat, you should know, if you have followed it since its inception, you realize that every year it is getting bigger. And that is why every silverware now counts. Gone were the days where people thought that it didn't matter to have a silverware. And to quote Yusuf Basigi, he says, every history you make is important to the progress and development of women's football. And so you cannot afford to have your name omitted from that history. And that is what these clubs are going to do. Hopefully, some companies, some organizations sitting somewhere would see the enormous benefits of sponsoring women's football brings to national development and progress. I think Evelyn has cataloged it a lot. I have always said that how people haven't or companies haven't seen the need to invest in these is something that baffles my mind, because right from 1999, when we made the first appearance at the Women's World Cup, countries that have bought into the idea of developing women's football have invested in them, and they have grown and developed. Look at Australia. I mean, at the time that we were going to the first Women's World Cup, we were even above Australia in rankings. You look at other countries, Mexico and all that, and they have all grown faster, even on the continent. Look at the enormous benefits that Morocco is reaping because they have decided that as a national development, they are investing big in women's football. South Africa, even Equatorial Guinea. We've all seen it. And so for me, it is not really about the lack of talent or the administrative or technical know-how. It is simply because of the funds. Evelyn has broken it down as a CEO of a club. I don't need to add more. It is difficult. And so the FA can also not bear it all. If we will be able to get organizations and businesses to sponsor, then it is going to help us a lot, because at the end of the day, it is when you develop, that you invest, that you develop, and then you grow the brand, and then the brand will go on to become bigger for you to also enjoy out of it. But without it, we would always go round in circles, because at the end of the day, when it matters most, it is the lack of funds. Look at Mamelodi Sundowns. Now, they are going to represent at the maiden FIFA Inter-Women's Club competitions. And you know the amount they are going to get just for qualifying? A whooping almost $60 million. I mean, this is how much it is. Because apart from that, I also think that the club, despite all the financial challenges, would also have to find a way of leveraging the opportunities, and especially the technological advantage that it brings. Now you are able to create your social media presence, you build your following on the social media, and then it's a seen. You are visible, you are a visible brand there, because it's also all about the numbers now. When it comes to the individual numbers for the clubs, I don't think it is the responsibility of the FA that needs to do it. They may need to employ dedicated people who will handle their social medias for them, create the content for them, so that when they are able to build and develop those contents, they can also benefit from it. And from there, then they can go and, talk to a sponsor. Look at my numbers. Numbers do not lie. And based on that, the sponsor would also come in to help. And so it's a difficult situation, but I think that we should be able to get through with it if we do things right.
Very well. So let's just do a bit on the two games that we're expecting, and then after that we'll come in for final comments on this particular one. But you can join us. Remember, it's 055 1111997. 055 1111997. Would want to get to Lawrence now so that he brings us up to speed on the level of excitement we should expect and the big moments that are waiting football fans, especially for the Women's FA Cup final that we play tomorrow, at the University of Ghana Stadium. Let's begin with that. Lawrence, like I said, you have told us the story, and so we're just waiting for kickoff, and then the rest of it will follow. What areas of excitement should we look for, and what kind of game also are we expecting, or should we expect tomorrow when the big games kick off?
Thank you once again. I think we are expecting a very good game from both competitions as far as the FA Cup and then the Women's Premier League is concerned. In the case of Jonina and then Fed Ladies, I'm looking at one team that has been very offensive in this competition, because none of Jonina's games has ended in a penalty shootout. If I want to point out, the most impressive was the one against Root Sisters, a Division 1 club based in Slovenia, when they won, I think 4-0 or 5-0 at the Tichy Match Park. So that was their most impressive game in the run to the final. For fit ladies, yes, a bit of struggles in there, but they still manage their way to put through any time that they've gone on penalties. They've gone on penalty 3 times, and then they've been able to, manage wins on all occasions. So it's more of an offensive side up against the defensive side. If you look at the Women's Premier League, both Ampem Darkoa and then Police Ladies, I would say have almost like a similar style of play because they both want to, hit you on the counter, sometimes relax and then control the game. That is the style of both teams. For Ampem Darkoa Ladies, where the concern is will have to be their defensive side because they shipped in quite a lot of goals as compared to what Police managed in the whole of the zonal games. So it's a bit of a worry for Coach Sarkodie in that regard. For Police Ladies, their offensive numbers might not be as high as Ampem Darkoa Ladies because they they are, I think, about 10 or some goals short of what Ampem Darkoa Ladies did. But then again, you have to look at the competitiveness of their zonal of their zones because Police Ladies face quite a lot of challenge in the southern zone. I wouldn't want to underrate the northern zone, but then the competition in the southern zone has been much keener than the one in the northern zone. So they know what it means to beat Hazakes to such a top spot and then move into the final. In terms of excitement, yes, Mortagen they are the sole sponsorship sole sponsors of the league, so they'll be there to refresh fans who come to the stadium. And an exciting thing I'm picking up from the FA this morning has been the fact that there are going to be young moderators for the post-match and then pre-match games. So as well as we are going as far as we are going to see games, players coming to watch them, we're also going to see some women of young talents who will be doing a lot of media works on the day. So I'm looking forward to some of these opportunities. Normally you want to grow up as a child to become, or as a kid to become a doctor, to become a pilot, to become a president. But if we are able to groom some of these ones to also take up the opportunity of becoming media personalities, that is also a good thing. So a lot of things to expect on the day. Yes, you want to watch the FA Cup, you want to watch the Women's Premier League, but there's also a room for, networking, a room for meeting some of these people behind the scenes. For me, as someone who's also keen on aside journalism, who's also keen on brands, I want to see how both teams, as Madam Rosalind mentioned, I want to see how they make use of their social media because that is one aspect of the game that I feel our clubs are to delve more and taking interest in because the very moment you're able to build such a strong brand on social media, you get companies coming to you. I happen to to have gotten closer to Hazakes Ladies so in time past, so I know what it means in that regard. When you have some people trying to reach out to you on how you are doing some of these things, it's a good omen for you as a club, for even you as a social media person. So if our clubs can build on that side of their game, it will add a lot of value to whatever we do.
Very well, very well. Thank you so much. Lawrence will stay on with us, but we'll take some final comments from Rosalind and Evelyn. Rosalind from many miles away, and also Evelyn here with us in the studio. Evelyn, you have put up a paper. You have written officially to the Confederation of African Football for the establishment of a women's CAF Super Cup,
CAF Confederation,
Confederation Cup, competition, just like the men do have. Have you had audience with the CAF president?
No.
Okay.
In fact, they have not even acknowledged what I have sent to them.
But the good news is that Ketu Kweku has been confirmed as the second vice president of CAF.
Oh,
so
okay.
Working it through him won't be bad.
It won't be bad. But I remember 2010, a white man came from Switzerland, Roman Hangatan, for a training administration course. And then we had an opportunity to attend that course. So after the program, the people who represented some women clubs, we came together and we wrote through GFA to CAF to establish the Champions League. That was 2010. So from 2010 to 2021, 11 years, it came to pass. So I believe that maybe they have seen it. It will also come to pass. As Rosalind said, we are all looking at Champions League. and then maybe you'll be picked to play for the national team. But if we can get CAF Confederation so that after FA Cup, whoever wins will also represent the nation, I think it will not be a bad idea. The FIFA has now extended the women's representative from 32 to 48. So I feel that if CAF can also extend the Champions League, expand it from 8, now it's 8 teams. If it can be expand from 8 to 12, I think it will help all of us.
Great.
So that we can get more teams coming on board. Over here, we don't get anything. But if you manage to get to the Champions League, then you get something small to come and prepare your team. It will help you. In fact, when we played the final match with Mamelodi Sundowns, we went there for about 3 weeks. We haven't given anything to our players, as in money. But the final day, you know that Mamelodi Sundowns belongs to CAF president.
Yes.
He came down and he told them that if you win this cup, each of you will receive $14,000. Not $1,004.
$14,000.
$14,000. Then 2021
Yeah,
each.
player.
So you think they will come to the field and play? They will come there and joke or whatever. That day we played as if we have not even played football before. Hazakis, we were there, and these girls were playing us good football, and they won it 2-0. So I feel that if there is money in for us to prepare before we get there, it will help us. When you go to Wafu, you are not giving anything apart from the accommodation and the feeding you are given from the organizers. You don't get anything, whether you become first, second, or third. But I also want to suggest that is in the write-up that I've given to CAF, that they should also give small money to the organizers of Wafu, so that the winner of Wafu, who is representing the zone, can get something to prepare. For instance, Nigeria went on behalf of Wafu B last year. So if Nigeria is going, and then we get the person maybe $10,000 or $20,000 to prepare, the person will do well. But you don't have money. You do everything possible to get there. And when you finish, you win Wafu, you come home without anything. And I know that one of them, Ampem, Darkoa and police, one of them will represent us. I just want to plead with the corporate institution that they should come to our aid. We want to do something to develop this country. All that we are doing, we are also supplementing what the government is doing to be able to have a very good country so that they will not travel. Now, you have a player, you sign the player for 3 years. One season, the player is going away because you cannot pay the player. But when they go to Nigeria, they are being paid dollars. They go to even Liberia. They are able to pay their players. We are in Ghana here, where we have more talents. We are not able to get money to develop them well. So I feel that tomorrow, all the other 18 clubs should come and support our own. We are going to play the game. It is our product. We need to develop it. We need to make it attractive. So I'm just pleading with all our members that tomorrow let us all meet at Legon Sports Stadium and watch them. Whoever wins is going to represent Ghana at the Wafu. And we have to support them over there too. Nigerians, they are doing something, and I think it hasn't come to our attention yet. When you win, they will all support you. If you need players, for instance, if police is going to represent Ghana and they have seen a player within Hazakis and they want it, they should be able to come, sit down with us. We'll give the player to her for them, for the player to go and help them. Last year, police ladies gave Hazakis ladies 2 players. It was very unfortunate that we couldn't, progress to the next stage because of some challenges that we faced over there in connection with passports. We had the players there, they were not able to play because CAF said it's only passports. We went with Ghana card. Most of our players had Ghana card. But when we got there, they said it's passports. That was the only reason we couldn't progress. But I wish them well. And officiating should be superb. We should have very good officiating, please. The officiating officials. You don't belong to any of the team. Allow them to do their own thing. And then you also moderate the game, that even if I lose and I see that officiating has been good, I will just go home peacefully. Officiating wasn't good for us this season at all. But we are a team that we do not normally like complaining. We keep it and then we go away. Officiating wasn't the best. But this is all what we have done within the season. This is the last straw that people are coming to watch what we have been doing, so that they sponsor us. So please, officiating officials, tomorrow will be your day. Make it count. Make us go home and then be talking about the good things that you did. Don't mar the competition for us. Tomorrow is the last day, so please.
Very well, very well, very well. Very, very important thoughts coming from Evelyn Isiasari, the president of the Hazakas Ladies Football Club, and they are multiple Ghana League champions, so she knows what exactly she's talking about here. Also, she's the vice president of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana. Roslyn has played many roles when it comes to the executive of the Sports Writers Association of Ghana, also leading the Women's FA Cup Committee. Roslyn, as we wrap up the conversation, I just want you to tell us how all of this is going to feed into the future that you see and the future that you're working for when it comes to the product of the Women's FA Cup.
Well, thank you, Nat. I think that, I mean, we all have roles to play, and at least I'm happy that from humble submissions that we have done since 1999, a lot of the things that we see at the international level can also be, in a way, accredited to us, some of us, in the progress and development of the women's game. And so we cannot sit. I always say that the moment you take part or you decide to invest in women's football, consider it as a mustard seed or a seed of the oak tree, where you probably will not see, you see it grow gradually, but eventually one day it becomes a very large tree under which many people will come and have their shade. For me, Evelyn has spoken about sponsorship, a lot of sponsorship, but I always say that gone were those days where people would just want to give you freebies. They would also want to see what you bring to the table and what is in it for them. There is nothing like free lunch anymore. And so every time I've had the opportunity, I have told the club, let us do the minimum basic things with regards to transparency, accountability, and inclusiveness. Because if you want somebody to come and put in money, but you don't want the person to be really involved and know what you are doing, it will be difficult. We are gradually facing, and when I say we, women's football is gradually facing the same issues that men's football are facing. I mean, they want to, the way the clubs are run, the way they want to do their things. But for me, the important thing is legislation, and that is why for almost 30 years now, I've always found it very strange that we haven't had people and policies that will mandate businesses to invest in sport. And this place, I'm not talking about just women's football. There should be a policy that encourages businesses to invest in sports. So, for instance, we have a lot of mining companies that come in. We have a lot of other businesses, the banks and all that. I don't think that we used to have the how do we call it, the tax rebate, where you put in an amount of your earnings in sport, and it is considered as tax payment of tax, and so it becomes a tax rebate for you. So, for instance, you go to Rwanda, you go to Lesotho, you go to other places, and they are doing that. So we ask you, okay, so for each year, put in $1 million into women's football. Women's football, you disburse it directly to the clubs and all that, and that it is considered as tax returns for the company. I mean, why can't we do that? For 30 years, I remember when we came back from the World Cup in 1999, one of my first articles I did was that it is, what we saw, and we spoke with people there, they said it is all about sponsorship and investment. And so for me, if anybody will be compelled, the businesses are looking at the numbers that we have in Ghana, they are looking at the returns, and if there is no compulsion for them to invest, they will not do it. But if there is a policy that says that invest a percentage of your earnings in sports development, and so put them in these specific areas. And that is where, when you are done, you can also come and ask for tax returns and tax rebates. I think that it should be done. Thankfully, we have a sports minister who is also a member of parliament. Perhaps I have always asked for a blueprint for sports development. If they will improve whatever it is that we have now and talk about sports funding, where businesses and organizations are compelled to invest a percentage of their returns in sports, and in return it is given to them as tax rebate. I think we'll be moving that conversation forward. With regards to tomorrow, I think that all of us are going to be there. Police ladies, this will be their first attempt of winning the Premier League. They were the first winners of the the FA Cup. After that, they have tried it several times. They have not succeeded in annexing the FA Cup again. But this will be a good time for them to win for all the years they have spent in the WPL. And we know they have their numbers. Tomorrow is Sunday. They should be able to commandeer a lot of their people who are not on duty to come and watch the game. Football is always about the atmosphere. Football is always about the atmosphere. Last year, we saw what they did when they came together, or they came against Army Ladies in the FA Cup final. And so we are expecting same of them. I'm sure DCOP Lady Darkoa would get her people to come and support. Beyond that, almost everybody who can should be there. It's at the Legon Stadium. Let's come and support. Let's come and enjoy, because at the end of the day, it is what we sell out there that will encourage people to also have a second look at women's football and say, look, this is a brand that is developing, that is growing. We want to come and invest in it. Beyond that, we expect good sportsmanship from the players. We've had instances where the optics have not really been nice. While we are calling for fair officiating, and I have no doubt at all, the two referees who will be at the center in tomorrow's games, Rita in cancer and the other lady, are experienced. They've built the exposure and experience, and I have no doubt that they will do the right things tomorrow. But beyond that, we should also see good sportsmanship from the benches. Most of the times, you look at the attitude and reactions from coaches on the bench, and it incites all these things. So hopefully tomorrow, we should play by the whistle and to the referee's whistle and the rules of the game. If you are unhappy about it, you don't throw tantrums and create a bad scene. You approach the fourth referee and you lodge your complaint. If it's beyond the fourth referee, we all know that we have a way of lodging our complaints with the FA and all that. We should let football, women's football, be the greatest winner tomorrow. Not a lot of people are watching. People are asking me for the feed already to come and ask about it. And I'm thinking that tomorrow we should sell a very good product of women's football of Ghana to the rest of the world. Not many actions are there tomorrow, and everybody, both on social media, on digital platform and on television, everybody will be following. So let's go make ourselves proud and make the better side win tomorrow.
Amazing stuff. Thank you so much. Rosalind Amo is chair of the women's the FA Cup committee, the Women's FA Cup committee under the Ghana Football Association, joining us with her perspective to the conversation. Also here, Evelyn Insiasari, who is vice president of SWAG and also president of Hazakas Ladies Football Club, a club who have established themselves when it comes to winning the Premier League. Now, a message from Ernest Boama. Ernest Boama says, women's football has come this far, and I believe it's time we call on corporate Ghana to push them. Coaching ladies in football is not easy. I had my experience when I used to teach at St. Teresa's School. Kudos to the chairperson of the Women's FA Cup. I will be there tomorrow to watch. Ernest Boama, thank you so much for that message. Ernest is a former lead producer of Joy Sports as well, and is the man in charge of the upcoming Millennium Marathon. Okay, so thank you so much, ladies. It's been wonderful having you here in the studio, and we're looking forward to seeing something amazing happen tomorrow. A football festival indeed, between a set of amazing clubs. So, Ampem Darkoa ladies versus Police ladies for the women's Premier League title, and then Jonina ladies and Faith ladies for the FA Cup. Yes.
I believe the minister will come.
Very well.
So she shouldn't come alone.
Okay.
He should come with all the women within the NDC. The women who are ministers. I know of Ofuswe Jare, Shamima Muslim, and the rest. You see, when the ladies see such people watching them, it encourages
Dr.
them.
Agnes Namomolate, all of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I want to see all of them. And after that, we want to have an engagement with them.
Very well.
So that at least we can all sit down and look at how best we can invest into this industry.
Evelyn, thank you so much. Thank you so much. The next time when we sit down, we'll be looking ahead to the big anniversary and how you plan to go about it. Thank you so much. So the ladies in focus there, first part of the Joy Sports Link here on Joy 99.7 FM. All right, so we'd get into the Black Satellites conversation now, but I'd want you to take a listen to these key moments.
Dean just having a little here we go there in this Ghanaian time. Nice little break. They found a little bit of space here. Sure, all the angled header should have gone. Oh, you've got to be careful there. He's trying to get rid of it. It's in the back of the net. They've scored the goal. Egypt pouncing on a misunderstanding at the back, and Mohamed Sharif, who's coming to replace Kedia, drives it into the corner of the goal. Well, they have to get there first, otherwise it's going to be another goal. Second goal. How about that for Egypt? Sharif with a double. Well, what a super impact he's made for the Egyptian team. It's well played. Isa picks it up, tries to get past his man. Still going. Long-range shot coming in. It's not a bad one. Oh, the bounce. Look at that. Ghana get one back. Unbelievable. And Monet just doesn't know what happened there. Isa with that left foot, trying to float it in. Anybody there to get the header in? It's a decent header. The delivery from the corner into the penalty box. There's a header, as a chance. Can anybody get on the end of it? We need to shoot the shot. And Ghana level. Oh, it's a push for this man. Sullivan! And it's the equaliser for Ghana. The Black Satellites survive for the moment. It was a perfectly taken into the corner to beat Abdi. No more minutes of added time is the answer to that. For them to stay alive. Oh, he drives it sensuously into the corner. Rustenji sends Egypt through to the semi-finals. They've done it.
All right, highlights there from the performances posted by the Black Satellites team at the under-20 AFCON in Egypt. So Ghana has lost out on an opportunity to get into the Final Four, and also by that book a place in the next under-20 FIFA World Cup. So we're not going to see Ghana there at the next under-20 FIFA World Cup, unfortunately. So 2009 remains the master template. But what is our situation now? Michael Akomia is with Wontumi Sport, bringing us some analysis together with Joy Sports' Lawrence Beidou, who have been following very, very keenly and very closely. So at this time, I would like to also say very big greetings to all of our friends who are listening to us in various parts of the world, from the United States of America, from Europe, different parts of Ghana, including our friends who are tuned in on Castle 90.3 FM in Cape Coast. So let's now get on with the conversation on the Black Satellites and take a look at the key lessons we learned. So we went in, had an initial draw, and then we went ahead to beat the defending champions of the competition, Senegal. The draw was against DR Congo, and then we went ahead to beat the defending champions, and then we won again. And then we made it into the quarterfinals to face Egypt, who are the hosts of the competition. The Black Satellites showed a lot of grit, a lot of character as well, and managed to fight back and draw the game to send it into extra time and eventually into a penalty shootout, but Ghana couldn't make it. This is where we want to take the conversation from. Gentlemen, good to have you here, especially Michael Akome of One2Me Sports, who's joining us again for the second time in about 3 weeks for a major conversation. Michael, good to have you here on the show.
It's also good to be here.
All right. So I'm going to start with you. Look, we all got a little disappointed, but there are those there's a constituency who are also drawing a lot from the quality they saw, the commitment of the players, the patterns of play, and also the ability to fight back. That is something we've not been known for many years.
Matt, I think it's quite unfortunate to see the Black Satellites out of the competition. And we are not also qualifying for the World Cup. When you look at a country like Ghana and what we've done and the template we've already set and the standards we've placed ourselves at, winning the World Cup in 2009, we deserve a chance to be playing at the World Cup again after a long period of time. The last time we won it was with Coach Abdul Karim Zitu, which was the under-20 youth tournament with Abdul Fattah Ishaku and some of these guys, which unfortunately that year we did not have the opportunity to represent at the world level. But definitely we had a trophy and we're okay with it. I have had my fair share of criticisms when it comes to this particular under-20 team. But I also think we played our best game against Egypt and we lost to Egypt. Which definitely I feel we did some petty mistakes during the early stages of the game where we could have literally controlled the game better, avoid individual errors, and hold firm onto whatever that you wanted to do in the game to get the results at the end of the day. But unfortunately, we needed to go 2 goals down, try and fight back and get to level in 2-2, then get to extra time, then on penalty shootouts where we lost to the Egyptians. I don't think we should blame this on luck, because I've seen a lot of comments around the penalty shootout where a lot of people make arguments that penalty shootouts is a game of luck. It's a game of luck. I personally have a different opinion when it comes to penalty shootouts. I think football has become more scientific. Football is going to different levels where you don't need to do lottery here and there before you can win a penalty shootout. I personally believe that you need to work on a team that should be ready for any circumstances that come up within a specific tournament. So you look at the Egyptian team, when they got to the penalty shootout, they needed to change their goalkeepers. And you already knew that they had won the psychological aspect of the penalty shootout as at that moment where they needed to change their goalkeeper. So any player that will come up against him, because he has been changed into the game specifically for penalty shootout, the psychological edge over you that he is going to get into your head and save 1 or 2 penalty kicks. You will need to do most above whatever that you've already prepared against Egypt in terms of the penalty shootout. But you look at us, we stick with our main goalkeeper, we stick with 1 or 2 players to play the penalty shootout, and we just feel like, let's just go for it. When it works out, it will work out. And I feel these are things going forward, we need to put it into context when you are discussing doing well in major tournaments against some of these sides. Let's not trick ourselves and tickle ourselves and laugh that this was a lottery kind of thing that we're supposed to do. I strongly believe that Egypt were prepared. They knew what they wanted. That is why they defended most of the time during the game and wanted to take this game to penalty shootout. They've worked on their weaknesses. They've made sure that they master within their strength, put you in a tight corner, take you to a position where their strength will come out and make sure that they get the results. And that is what they did to us.
Lawrence, for you, how much credit would you want to give the technical team and all of that? Michael has raised a very important point about having your team being an all-round side that is ready for every situation and not necessarily just the penalty shootout situation, but a team that psychologically and technically is prepared and ready for anything at all that will happen. For you, where are you also drawing your positives from this exit from the competition?
I think you would want to give the technical team some credit in there, because you look at the preparation time, look at the score difference between the African games, the tournaments in Germany, the four nation tournament we played in before the start of this competition, as well as the Wafubi. You look at the score differences, and you look at the materials they have to work with. Quite, I mean, almost as if a different different set of squads. So, to get them to adapt to what you want to play in this tournament was quite difficult, but they were able to find their way. You look at times where you have Chris Bradford coming in. I mean, Chris Bradford is one of the assistants of the team. Look at him come on the touchlines. It tells you what, because for the larger part of their preparations, even Desmond Offer wasn't with them. It was Chris and Fatal who handled training sessions with the squad income. So, I mean, for the technical team, you want to give them some credit. For the players as well, I mean, some of them did whatever they had in their in their lockers. They were able to play well. You want to mention a few things. I look at the minutes some of these players have had at their club side, and whether they were prepared for some of these games. I feel no. And this is not me being biased towards anyone. There were a few players in this squad that I feel could have been better off for coming off the bench than being starters. And I'm going to single out the captain like Ofori McCarthy in my instance. He's not played so much at his club level. I thought he's been around the team for quite a time. He's had experience, but then when it gets to moments like this, you need some of the players who have been out there, who have been playing consistently, playing week in, week out, to be on the pitch, because they are match ready. They are ever ready to go at it. From the penalty shootout angle, I don't think the goalkeeper has anything to, or is at fault for anything. I mean, he probably did whatever he could. As Akumia mentioned, Egypt won the psychological edge, because if I'm a player or I'm a team, and then I'm heading towards penalties, and the first thing my opponent do is to change their goalkeeper, I thought he's already conquered my mindset. It's already eating into my head, and now you want to be cautious. Where I thought we had it wrong was the fact that was the selection of our penalty takers. And why would you say I'm saying this? You look at the fact that Hakim Suleimana converted one of the most, pressured penalties in the game at that point. And then we get to the penalty shootout, and it's not even a part of the first 5 takers in that period. And you asking, what went into the decision to make to choose the first 5? Or is it the player's choice? Is it the technical team's choice? And that is where I feel we had it wrong, because I was even looking at the body language of the players during the penalty shootouts. They had it wrong. You look at someone like Darkoa, who picked up the ball, and he looked shaky from the very moment he picked up the ball and tried to place it. He looked shaky. He looked someone who was worried, and that is where I thought it all went wrong for us, and it didn't go our way in the end. I thought these are lessons that we'll be learning from, but that assertion of penalty being a 50-50 thing or being a trial luck thing, I mean, people master it. People practice it every now and then, and they become better at it. If we are doing that, we become better, but then it's something we have not worked on, and it's something that continues to go against us.
Let's start looking into the future, because that is one very critical part. I mean, across board or around the table, you are all in agreement that this is a team we should keep, make a few amendments to, and keep for the future. Now, the fact that we're not playing in these, at the World Cup, it will take something away. But how do we go about making sure that we keep a good core so they can make up the Olympic team and eventually the Black Stars team? Michael?
Yes, Nat, I actually think that not everybody in this squad is going to make it. Let's first of all accept that fact. It is like life lessons. It's not everybody that is in this life that will be able to achieve a dream one way or the other. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But there are few key players within this setup that I actually believe that they've showed enough potential to be looked at and make sure that we monitor their progress and then push them as to where we are supposed to push them. You look like someone like Suleimana, Karim Suleimana, You look at somebody like Aaron Essel. You look at somebody like Jerry Efuye, who has already had a stint with the Black Stars, comes in here and out and goes back again. And we've seen a player like Ishmael Addo, who was superb in this particular tournament. Anyone that have watched the Ghana Premier League will understand the importance of players like Ishmael Addo and how he has played a vital role in the course of Heart of Lions fighting for the league title at the end of the season. But you look at the developmental plan of nations like Morocco, South Africa, and you begin to question how we've come this far, and if these nations have actually been beating us at this level, getting to the finals of such competitions where it used to be our main position. You look at Morocco and how they invested in a national development training fund. You look at how they built a lot of infrastructures and made sure that their clubs pay close attention to youth development in terms of nurturing players from their end, and especially local players who are transferred abroad, either to Spain or to even France, to make sure that they are groomed so well to give a positive impact on the national team. So you look at their players that they took to this particular tournament, you would understand that most of them are from either Spain or even France. But when you look deep down to where they had their basics from, you would understand that they had stints with their local clubs, got to that stage already prepared, not necessarily going there to go and prepare then come back to the national team. They went to such clubs already prepared, delivering over there, getting more playing minutes, and making sure that when they come back to the national team, they can have the huge influence that they are supposed to give the national team. So you listen to Lawrence and what Lawrence was saying about the number of minutes some of these players played at their clubs. It is because they failed to master one or two things before traveling outside the country. And when you get there and you're in a competition with one or two players who are better than you in such instances, you are not going to get the amount of minutes you wish to play at that particular club. Meaning, you will just be there 50 minutes, 60 minutes, 40 minutes. Then when it's time for national team call-up, you come back again and the basic errors will show up. For example, how we consider the 2 goals. I was asking myself a lot of questions that, how can you play professional football at this level, at this stage, and be making such errors not once, but twice? And we just gave the ball away to the Egyptians just to go and score us. And they also monitored us and realized that we are prone to errors at the back line. So they just kept on hitting the ball in behind our defensive lines, knowing really well that we are going to make individual errors, either by tackling or even passing the ball backwards, which Esiako might even find trouble coming out to come and clear it off. And we need to work on most of these things and develop our football so well with a proper developmental plan, knowing the route. After Uncle Ben Kofi's developmental plan, I don't think we've had a real substantive developmental plan for Ghana football. It's all about we go, we come back again, we pick 1 or 2 or 3 players who are good enough, fix them in the Black Stars or even under 23. They play 1 to 3 years, transferred abroad. If it works out, fine. If it doesn't work out, fine. And talent is not enough. We need to understand how football is being run now. Look at how Morocco is doing their football. Look at how South Africa is doing their football. These people, they used not to be powerhouses when it comes to African football development. But now, look at where they find themselves. They are dominating under 17. They are dominating under 20. They are dominating women's football. Let's just go to them. It's not a bad thing to move to them or pick up their template and learn from them and do things better and make sure that we catch up as soon as possible.
Amazing. Let's start wrapping up the conversation, the disappointments, but then let's also open up the conversation a bit, because at the end of the day, these are the same teams that we will be meeting in the future. They would have kept some of their talents, some would have fallen off, which is a very normal thing. But how much hope do you have in the future for Ghana, Lawrence, when you look at the talent pool and what we have put together in terms of the technical setup for discovering these players, managing them, and making sure that we have very good transitions?
And I think the signs are clear. Before the team went to the WPL tournament, I had spoken to Desmond, and one of the things he mentioned was having a pool of players to choose from every time. So he talked about his scouting ideas, working with his technical stuff, and the fact that they had about 40, they had 3 sets with 40 players in each pool. So it's about getting to translate the culture into this set of players, getting them to to know the transitional process, the GFA taking them through every step that they need. I thought we don't need to rush them. That is the point I want to come from. We don't need to rush them. Monitor their minutes. Work on those who avail themselves. Because when I say avail themselves, players who make the moves and be playing minutes, getting much of playing time, and then be making real impact. Not just players that we feel should come into the national team because they have the names. I mean, you could have the name and still not be playing football. That is not the kind of future we want. We want to see our players progress at the club level, at the international level. So if we are able to keep the core of this team, integrate them into the various national teams very well, and then monitor their progress, I thought it is one of the things that will help us in, because you look at that under 20 side, Akumia mentioned earlier, that won the Africa Cup of Nations, went on to win the World Cup. It was out of this team that we were able to get the core of the senior national team for quite a long time. Look at Andre Ayew, look at Samuel Lincoln, you want to look at Andre Ayew, you want to look at I mean, some of these players came into the national team and made an impact, like Jonathan Mensah. I don't want to forget about it. So it's about keeping the core of the team and then helping them in the transitional process. Some years ago, I watched the under-17 team that went to India. You can mention Eric Eya, mention Toku, mention Mohamed Kudus, and you're asking yourself, aside Mohamed Kudus and a few others, where have these players passed? It's because some of them didn't get to make the right decisions. Some of them weren't guided so well. So if we are able to guide them, integrate them very well into the various national teams, help monitor their development, I think we could be enjoying the benefits of our investments in these players and not just, leave them agile and then wait for them to make the best decisions. And the ones that pop up properly, we bring them into the national team. It doesn't work that way. You need to also be very much interested in whatever they do, whatever step they take, how they manage their lives, their professional lives, and then blend it with their development so that you can also make the most of their talent as well as everything that goes around the national team.
All right. Guys, thank you so much. It's been amazing having you. Michael Akumia is with Wuntumi Sports, and Lawrence Baidu, the Joy Sports, bringing us perspective to the conversations about under 20 and where it's going to go. That's how we wrap it up here this afternoon on the Joy Sports link on Joy 99.7 FM. And of course, you do trust that these songs are going to be playing for a while in celebrating the impact and the contributions of Dada KD, now of blessed memory. While we're doing all of this as well, we want to celebrate what also lights up our hearts. And this is where I'd say a very big happy birthday to my big brother, Chris Attoh. Multiple award-winning international actor Chris Attoh, celebrating his birthday today. Happy birthday to you, bro. It's in the blood. And this is where we say thank you to the whole team as well. Benaya Elam Dafiamekpo leading production this afternoon. And of course, coming up later will be that big conversation about how the government has done in the first 120 days. The Bahama government has done in the first 120 days handling the creative industry and arts and culture industries. The team takes over with that conversation this afternoon with Kwame Dazi leading the charge. So you all have a wonderful time. And of course, the man who will be taking over from me for the next 4 hours is here with me. Unia.
Big boss.
Yeah, Samu.
Charlie.
Charlie.
When I saw the rumors on social media last night, I was praying it wasn't true. This morning I had a conversation with manager of Dada KD, Kim P, and he confirmed.
Wow.
He confirmed.
so sad. And once again, we're having to go through that process of celebrating somebody on his death and not on his birthday, on a day when he's received a major accolade.
I think it's more or less like a ritual. It's normal for us to celebrate somebody when the person is no more with us.
But we have to change that.
But we do celebrate them almost every time. But you see, okay, imagine if nobody plays a song as of now. As we speak now, if nobody comes on radio to talk about him, the same people will complain, why are you not talking about somebody who's passed? So I think it's natural with human beings. If somebody passes, if something bad happens to somebody, it is natural that we celebrate the person. In this instance, for example, very natural. But we've been playing his songs.
Yeah, we've been playing his songs. I mean, and you know, and if I'm trying to throw back, so Dada KD is one of the artists that I've introduced on stage as an MC. And of course, by the grace of God, I've been able to, you know, introduce artists of the old and new generation, all relevant artists, you know, on stage. Dada KD is one of them, and we've had some amazing experiences. I'm throwing back to when Marco Kreku Mante brought us the High Life Festival. We had 24 High Life artists on the 24th of June.
Wow.
Yeah, and Dada KD was one of them. I remember how, you know, he got a bit upset with me for not giving him enough time, because now we're running out of time. We had 24
So
artists.
he couldn't perform for long?
Well, he couldn't perform fully, but you know, he was appreciated, and this song is one of the hit songs that drew him to the hearts of many people, you know.
We play a number of them later on Showbiz A to Z.
Definitely. So you'd have to follow Kwame Dazi, because this afternoon there's a critical conversation coming up, and we're looking at the creative arts sector.
Yes,
and
exactly.
How well the government has performed.
So this is the take-off. So beginning of the Mahama administration for the second time, and we're looking at how far they've gone in shaping, laying the foundation for the industry for their 4th term that we've given them. 120 days and over. How well have they fared?
Well, all of that, plus how well the Black Star Experience launch and its foundation and feed into it.
The Black Star Experience was one of the 120 days social contracts that they put out there. So I think that one has been fulfilled. But the others...
Let's see how
we're talking
all
about that
goes.
later on the show.
The reason why you have to join my man and your man, Kwame Dazi, and the rest of the team here on Joy 99.7 FM as we bring you today's edition of Showbiz A to Z. This is the numero uno conversation when it comes to anything the arts, creative, and entertainment sectors here in Ghana and internationally. You stay with us here on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Attoh. It's been wonderful serving you.